Every party needs a pooper. That's why we invited you. Hey, folks, I'm going to rain on the parade of the silver prices forecast today, just a little bit. And these are the four items that I'll be talking about in this video. We had a big drop, reasonable in my opinion to expect a longer correction because of the magnitude of the drop, longer correction in time, perhaps. Technical downtrend, we'll look at a chart that shows that, and then again, another chart, three fans technique as applied to the price of silver right now in the daily time frame. And then geopolitics. In my opinion, at the current juncture, it isn't reasonable to talk about the financial markets as if they exist in a vacuum. They don't exist in a vacuum. They exist within a bigger picture, which is the geopolitical situation, which again, I don't really want to talk about. Let's move on. This is our typical chart, the silver and gold daily time frame. Both charts, in my opinion, showing the same pattern. I'm going to talk about gold because that's what we're looking at, but it's the same pattern in silver. We got this big bear market rally, another big drop. We got another rally, bumped into the 50-day, clearly found resistance at the 50-day moving average and rolled over, at least so far, has rolled over there. And if we look at, MACD, I was hoping that MACD was headed back up into bull mode. And as a reminder, bull mode is when both lines of the MACD indicator are above the center line, the zero line of the indicator. And so it looked like we were headed in that direction. But now, MACD is clearly saying, I'm rolling over, and I'm rolling over in bear mode, which is below the zero line of the indicator and looks like we're headed for a new MACD sell signal there if this current price action continues. That kind of action gives me pause for concern. Let me shrink that chart back down. And then here in the silver chart, I was just showing that from a time perspective, here we are, there was the big steep plunge on end of January, and here we are end of April. So, essentially 3 months later. So we've kind of done the time, if we were looking at, hey, what's the prison sentence because of this correction in price? We've kind of done we've done the penalty period in time based on past corrections, and yet we have to consider the magnitude of that correction. In this chart, I just want to show that based on the technical definition of uptrend, downtrend, silver in the daily time frame is currently in a technical downtrend. And so if we look at that, so we got a high and then a low and then a lower high, a lower low and a lower high. I mean, that is the definition of a technical downtrend. And so we have to acknowledge, based on fundamentals, silver's currently in a downtrend until that behavior changes. And then MACD again, about to roll over into bear mode. It appears that we're very close to getting a new sell signal. I mean, it's just not a bullish picture in silver going forward for right now. In the big picture, there's nothing else, folks. I mean, it's physical precious metals. You either have it or you don't. In my opinion, all this paper stuff is going to go poof. It's going to go poof. It's going to reach its true value, which of course is zero because it's paper. Who cares about paper? When the brown sticky stuff hits the round circulating device, you either got physical or you don't. And all the other stuff isn't really going to matter. Roof over your head's going to matter. But anyway, we're looking in this chart at the three fans technique, and what this technique suggests is a corrective move or a downtrend, as in the language we were just using, a technical downtrend. One of the indicators we can look at for okay, when has that downtrend ended? It's the three fans technique. And so what we do is we start from our high and we draw it's a simple trend line. And it's just, it's based off of this first, okay, there was our relief rally, our corrective rally from the big price drop. There's our first fan. And we can see that, the price of silver broke through that first fan. And now it appears that we have a second price peak. Price poked its head up above the 50-day moving average there. So we tentatively draw our second fan at that level. And with our tentative second fan line in place, we can make some price predictions. And of course, this is just a crayon drawing. We're throwing mud against the wall. May or may not be what happens going forward. Anyway, and that's what we're seeing in these pink solid lines. I'm suggesting that this price rolling over from this last peak could push all the way down to the 200-day moving average and perhaps even spike a little bit below that level before we get another relief rally, corrective rally. And that would give us the price peak where we would draw our third fan, and then another price pullback before, ultimately silver breaks through the third fan and heads higher. And based on the three fans technique, that's how we would know that the downtrend was over. Got one more thing that am going to talk about in this video, and is the geopolitics. And I don't I don't really want to talk about geopolitics, but I don't think we can, in my mind, it's not realistic to be looking at the financial markets today without having a framework in which you think that financial activity is occurring. And in particular, because geopolitics right now, it's all wrapped up with energy. Energy is everything. You want to talk about inflation, stock market relative to the price of gasoline, the price of diesel fuel. There's been some dramatic changes in the fundamentals of business and energy in particular that I don't believe the markets are pricing in yet. Ultimately, they will, as markets always do. And just to elaborate on that, here's my panel of energy prices. And so we can see, WTI spots at 95 and change. The futures are pushing 97. WTI is America mostly, and then Brent is more of a European price. And so we can see Brent at 109 in the futures, and their spot at 108. This I've been watching for the last couple of days. This is RBOB. This is the precursor. Basically, this is, as I understand it, RBOB is gasoline without ethanol. And to meet U.S. EPA requirements, you got to add 10% ethanol to RBOB to sell what gets sold at the pump. And so anyway, to my eye, that is a price. That's a chart where price is about to break out and head higher. We can see we got a new buy signal in MACD. MACD is in bull mode. Lots of room to run before we reach an overbought level based on MACD. Positive volume, buying volume. Anyway, price gasoline's headed higher. I think we could talk about, maybe it's a little bit early in the year to talk about driving season in America, but we're headed into May and June. We're headed into summer and summer vacations, etc., where price of gasoline is going to be a factor. So lots of stuff going on geopolitically. As I stated in my last video, the conflict is not over. Neither side has reached their objectives, nor will they, in my opinion. And so, given that neither side is going to reach their stated objectives, the conflict will continue, potentially for years. And so anyway, enough of me babbling. Talk to you soon, folks.